Hello, my name is Niel Eyde from Skyway Software, and in this video I'm going to cover the deployment of a scaffolded Spring MVC application to Sandbox. In previous videos I've covered both the installation of Skyway Builder, the setting up of the sandbox, the scaffolding of the application, and now we're actually going to take this application and deploy it to an application server, in this case Tomcat, and to a database management system so I can see the application running. This is where I was left off last time, and I had my my order tracker project, which contains all of my Spring DSL components, and then I have my order tracker.web project, which is actually my standard Eclipse Dynamic Web Project that I can use for deploying to an application server. Now, I already added the application server in a previous video, but what I need to do is I actually need to go and do one additional configuration of that application server. Now, there are a variety of ways that I could go about this, but the MySQL JDBC driver that I downloaded, I can actually include it inside of my project if I wanted to, and add it as a library to my lib folder in my dynamic web project, or I can actually go ahead and put a copy of it into my Apache Tomcat lib folder, in which case it will be shared by all the projects. So I'm going to go with the latter approach, and I'm going to copy that, drop it in here, hit paste. And now my Apache Tomcat server is ready to, with the JDBC driver, to be able to connect to a database. Now what I'll do is I'll actually go ahead and add the dynamic web project to my application server by right-clicking on here and selecting Adding and Removing Projects. I'll go ahead, and on the left side you'll see my available projects for deploying. I'll actually click on that project, click Add, hit Finish. And now when I start up this application server, that by right-clicking on here, Start Application Server, it's now going to deploy that scaffolded application to Apache Tomcat. So I can verify my deployment by actually going over to the console, and I can actually see that my application did deploy, and I can see all the things that were created. You'll also notice that my databases that were created from my domain objects, that they were not found, and essentially that they were created for me as a result of not being found. And we can verify that by going over to my SQL query browser and verifying my database tables, doing a refresh here, clicking there, and I can see those are the three tables that were created for me automatically from my domain objects, or my domain model that was done within the Spring DSL. In order to actually run the application, I'm going to go ahead and open up the web content folder, and there's a folder under Pages, Customer. I can right-click on here, say Run as Run on Server, and it will actually go ahead and I don't really need to do any additional configuration. I can go ahead and just click Finish, and it will go ahead and run it within the browser inside of Eclipse. I'm also going to shift, because I'm actually going to shift over to Mozilla, and actually we can take a look at the same application running here, and now I can actually go in and start to create new customers. And so one of the things you'll notice is that I'll automatically get tooltips there. If I leave a field that's required empty, I'll actually get a warning, so I can go back up there and enter in a customer number. I can actually specify the customer name. Whoops. 123 Main Street. I can hit save, and it's there. I can now go and view the details of that customer. I can now associate purchase orders with that customer by creating a new purchase order, giving it a PO number. Once again, since I defined this as a numeric field, if I try to put in alphanumeric, the validation will automatically come up and say that this value entered is not valid. I'll go ahead and leave it at 1234. I'll go ahead and pick a date, and I'm just picking arbitrary dates here. Click Save, and this will automatically be associated with the purchase order. And because this is a one-to-many relationship, I can go ahead and add additional purchase orders if I want. Hit Save, and they're there. I go back to the top of the application and I see my customers. So that is basically the steps for deploying an application, and really the steps are no different than any other standard Eclipse Dynamic web project. The only difference is that the application, rather than it being created by hand, it was really scaffolded using Skyway Builder.